a king dear uncrowned, humble or poor, rich or renowned.
LNC Radio 113.8. That was Whispering Jack Smith with If I Had You. Welcome back, welcome back. We've got a guest call in this segment, but before we get to that, I just want to say I've finally found the ASOS advert song. So there's this one ASOS advert on Snapchat, and the song they use, it's like sort of Latin-y, but also electronic type song. It always captivated me. I would actually go back to re-watch the advert just so I could keep hearing that loop of, because they got the perfect loop of like the 4 bars or whatever, so I would keep going back and just listening to that over and over again. Then I realised that Shazam works and is a thing, so I figured out what the song is called. But for context, it's the advert with that one guy. It's kind of cute, but very unassuming. Kind of standard hair, not styled or anything. Very kind of normal clothes, unbranded, but like good shoulders, good proportions, very good symmetry. Not like the best looking guy you'd ever see, but good symmetry. Like perfect for a model, really. Perfect, actually, I would say, for the role of Romeo in Romeo and Juliet. But the song is called, hopefully that context was enough for you. If you are looking for this song, it's called Bonjour by Fellow. Phello. It's copyright free, royalty free music, just like I think all ASOS adverts use. But yeah, without much further ado, I don't want to keep our guest waiting. John, can you put him through, please? Yep. Okay, thank you. Socrates, you're on LNC Radio. How you doing today?
Thanks for having me. Life has been a bit uneventful for a while, but I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on something.
Of course. What's it you'd like to discuss?
Friendship.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Any thoughts to start off with?
Well, you tell me. You have close friends, and friends you are not as close, correct?
Certainly. Yeah.
So, what about them? Your relationship with them, what makes them particularly close?
Time. I suppose time. I've spent more time with them than most people.
Right, okay. So, the defining feature of a close friendship is length of duration?
Yeah, it must surely help.
Certainly. So, a friend you saw rarely, but for whom you've known for, a lot longer, would be closer than a friend you saw often, but maybe not known for as long.
Not necessarily. I mean, there are friends I've known for a decade more, but our interactions are very occasional, while others I've spent much more time with overall. And typically it's the latter group which are closer to me.
Hmm, I see. So, the level of closeness between friends might be better defined as absolute time spent together, rather than the amount of time passed since they became your friend.
This seems more accurate, yeah.
So then, if you spend the same amount of time with a friend group, your closeness with each member therefore would be equal?
No, in certain groups there are members who I'd consider closer.
Right, so then, even the absolute time spent together doesn't accurately reflect the closeness of a friendship.
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose not. Maybe there's something to be said for rapport between my friends and I that determines closeness.
Hmm, interesting. So, how would you define rapport?
Well, rapport is colloquially referred to as getting on with someone. It's rapport is the enjoyable social exchange between people.
Hmm. So, a friend you've known for years is less close than someone you've just met, but have better rapport with?
No, no, definitely not.
Okay, so surely rapport cannot be the answer then.
I mean, it could be a combination of time spent and rapport, maybe.
Ah, so neither is sufficient alone to determine the level of closeness in a friendship then.
It seems seems not.
Then, what of friends for whom you see only occasionally, and for whom you lack an engaging rapport? Could these even be considered friends?
I suppose not. At least to a lesser extent, if so.
Right, so tell me this. What if they are particularly supportive despite the lack of rapport or time?
I suppose it makes sense that despite lack of rapport or the time spent with that person could be considered a friend if they are supportive, especially in times of need.
Okay, so is it plausible to assume that there are persons for whom one could have rapport and time, but not support?
Yeah, of course, everyone's experienced this.
So who then would be the closer friend?
Well, I'd appreciate someone I trust to be supportive more than someone I've spent more time and enjoyment with, I'd suppose.
So perhaps we should include supportiveness in our definition.
It'd be wise to consider it.
Then what of people for whom there is support, their support is a burden?
How do you mean?
Okay, so one can envisage a friend who is supportive, but whose support is overbearing.
Yeah, yeah, no, I've experienced that.
Right. And one could envisage being frustrated with a friend whom you have given support, but who does not appreciate it.
Yeah, in such examples, I'd say it's usually the case that the supported does not wish for friendship with the supporter, regardless of their support.
So support isn't sufficient either then.
It would seem it would seem support is important in a friendship only to the extent that it's reciprocal.
You speak of loyalty.
I suppose.
So time spent with a person and the rapport established affect this loyalty.
I suppose one. I suppose one's more likely to want to spend time with someone who's loyal. Rapport can also make one desire to spend more time with someone.
So time spent may be an effect of other factors rather than a factor in itself.
Yeah, I mean, time spent is useful for determining the level of a friendship, but does not maybe in itself create closeness between people.
But then one is also more likely to be loyal to those they have spent more time with. No?
I suppose so.
Right, so in a similar vein, rapport and time spent could both cause the other.
Yeah, no, that seems clear. Yeah.
Right, so neither time spent, nor loyalty, nor rapport are themselves sufficient to determine the level of closeness of a friendship, as they can generate the others.
I'd assume right now you're positing that a relationship between the three is what determines closeness.
I mean, certainly, at least one of the three factors must be found in any friendship, but none of them seem useful when comparing two separate friendships, and yet it seems clear that some friends are just closer than others.
We know this to be the case.
Right, then there must be a reason why.
I feel as though you have an answer, Socrates.
Well, we mentioned another factor earlier regarding support and loyalty, and the difference therein.
Reciprocity?
Yep, I do.
Um, okay, explain.
Well, we have shown that one-sided support is not indicative of a good friendship. Rather, it seems to indicate a lack thereof.
We did.
And yet, when support is reciprocal, we call it loyalty.
This is accurate.
Right. And if we go back to the other factors, we can see a similar pattern.
How so?
So, we defined rapport as the enjoyable social exchange between people, right?
We did.
Okay. So, rapport also includes reciprocity. An exchange necessitates the involvement of two or more participants, and rapport needs this exchange to be mutually enjoyable.
Agreed.
Okay? Likewise, with the time spent, one cannot spend time with a friend without them spending an equal amount of time with you.
True.
And if a friend desires to spend more time with you than you desire to spend with them, doesn't that mean that they probably consider you a closer friend than you would consider them?
That seems probable. Yeah.
And did we not establish that each of the three factors can be the cause of others?
We did.
Then would it not be reasonable to assume that lack of reciprocity in any of the three factors decreases the likelihood of reciprocity in the other two?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Right. But we also established that the lack of explanatory power when comparing different friendships.
True.
So, does it not make sense that a friend is only a friend if they reciprocate their desire for friendship?
Yeah. Yeah. No, a man can't be friends with someone if the other person does not consider them a friend, regardless of how the man feels.
Right. And we can measure this by the level of reciprocity regarding the three factors we mentioned, despite their lack of explanatory sufficiency.
Yeah. A lack of reciprocity in any of those three factors indicates that someone does not consider you a friend.
Right. Therefore, the level of closeness one has with a friend must be determined by the level of mutual desire to be friends. Or put differently, a friend is close only to the degree that they reciprocate said friendship, and we can measure this with reference to the three factors mentioned.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Right. So we can define the closeness of a friendship as a level to which there exists a reciprocal desire to partake in said friendship.
Ah, nice one. Well done, Socrates. A well-constructed argument, as always.
Thank you, Soccer. I have a knack for these things.
Wait, why were you just about to say your name in third person?
Rubbish. I am Socrates.
I didn't say you weren't.
Oh, of course, I'm Socrates.
I don't know. Why do you keep? I don't think you are Socrates. I think you're fucking Plato.
What? I'm not Plato.
You're Plato.
I'm I'm not. I'm
You
Socrates.
sneaky bastard. All right, I'm hanging up. Goodbye. Goodbye. Well, thank you. Um, thanks to Socrates. Well, as we just found out, Plato. Plato called in, pretending to be Socrates. What a bastard. Um, I think it's best if we just have a song at this point. We've got Fats Waller, Ain't Misbehaving. I love this song. I've loved this song for the last 5 years. I've been trying to learn it on the piano for the last 5 years and still somehow not managed it. Hopefully, some pianists are listening to this and could maybe do it slightly better than I can. So without much deliberation, here we go. Fats Waller, Ain't Misbehaving. You're listening to LNC Radio 113.8 FM.